Before modern weapons, this is how they fought tigers.
Welcome to Eternal Moments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
In 1900, the Kingdom of Zanzibar was an important trading center in the Indian Ocean, known for its spices and cultural riches. The woman portrayed embodies the fusion of Arab, African, and Indian influences that characterized the island. Her clothing and bearing reflect the elegance and prestige of a booming society. This photograph serves as a visual testament to a world where tradition and commerce were uniquely intertwined. Galveston's 19th Street was unrecognizable after the devastating hurricane of 1900, considered the deadliest in the history of the United States. Buildings were leveled and debris littered the streets, creating a landscape of ruin and desolation. This photograph shows the magnitude of the disaster in a city that was virtually destroyed. More than 8,000 lives were lost, leaving an indelible mark on the memory of Texas. In December 1900, New York City engineers faced a daunting challenge: dismantling and reorganizing a labyrinth of pipes, cables, and tubes to make way for the subway. The image, taken at Broadway and 58th Street, shows the underground chaos hidden beneath the city. Each excavated block revealed a tangle that had to be painstakingly redesigned. This monumental effort laid the foundation for one of the world's most iconic transportation networks. In the early 1900s, Victorian roller coasters were a novelty that combined mechanical innovation and reckless fun. People climbed into wooden cars running on rudimentary rails without modern seatbelts or safety restraints. The experience was meant to feel as dangerous as it was thrilling, reflecting the adventurous spirit of the time. This photograph captures the wonder and adrenaline rush of those who first discovered the thrill of flying on solid ground. In the early 1900s, posing for a camera was a special and rare moment, and this trio decided to turn it into pure fun. Their smiles and gestures show a complicity that transcends time, capturing the everyday joy of the era. The photograph reflects how laughter and humor were a universal language, even more than a century ago. This frozen moment reminds us that happiness always finds a way to appear in front of a lens. Between 1890 and 1900, in Arkansas, these siblings posed with charming naturalness, turning a simple cart into the perfect backdrop. The photograph reveals the innocence and curiosity of childhood in rural America at the time. Every detail, from their expressions to the cart, captures a moment of simple and authentic joy. This portrait, preserved in a glass negative, is a small treasure that transports us back more than a century. Around 1900, deep within a gold mine in South Africa, a group of miners of mixed races stopped to pose for the camera. This image reveals the harsh reality of underground labor, but also the camaraderie that emerged among men of diverse backgrounds. Their faces reflect effort, resilience, and a moment of respite amid grueling days. The photograph becomes a testament to everyday life and the complex social dynamics of mining at the time. In the early 1900s, San Francisco's original Cliff House stood majestically on the cliffs, offering spectacular views of the Pacific Ocean. Its elegance and architectural style made it an icon of the city and a gathering place for the elite. However, its fate was marked by fires and reconstruction, which ultimately led to its demise. This photograph captures the grandeur of the building that became legendary long before its disappearance. In 1900, the Carolina parrot was the only parrot species native to the eastern and midwestern United States, known for its vibrant colors and sociable nature. Its population began to decline rapidly due to deforestation and hunting for the millinery industry. By 1918, the last known specimen died at the Cincinnati Zoo, marking its final extinction. This image preserves the memory of a bird that once filled American forests with life and color. In the early 1900s, Niagara Falls froze, transforming the roar of the water into a stunning landscape of ice. The photograph captures the power of nature frozen in time, with each icy formation reflecting the majesty of the place. This rare and fascinating phenomenon turned the falls into almost a magical setting. The image allows us to contemplate a moment when nature displayed its power and beauty in a completely different way.
Around 1900, the Carlisle Indian Industrial School in Pennsylvania brought together Native American youth from various tribes with the goal of assimilating them into the dominant American culture. The photograph shows the students posing formally, reflecting discipline and obedience in a rigorous educational environment. Behind the image lies a story of cultural loss and efforts to transform traditional identities. This photo is a visual testament to a complex and controversial chapter in the history of Native American education in the United States. In 1900, De Dam in Amsterdam was the vibrant heart of the city, a place where merchants, citizens, and visitors crossed paths daily. The square displayed a mix of historic architecture and commercial activity, reflecting the urban life of the time. The photograph captures the energy of a center that served as a social and cultural meeting point. This moment transports us to a city in the midst of transformation between tradition and modernity. Between 1890 and 1900, Thiers, France was known for its artisanal cutlery tradition and picturesque architecture. The photochromic technique used in this image highlights the colors and details of the streets, buildings, and landscapes, bringing the city to life like never before seen in photographs. Every corner reflects the daily life of its inhabitants and the charm of a late 19th century European village. This photograph offers a colorful window into a time of tradition and provincial elegance. In the early 1900s, academic fencing, or mensur, was more than a sport. It was a ritual of honor among university students in Germany. Participants faced off with strict rules and minimal protection, accepting scars as symbols of courage and prestige. The photograph captures the intensity and concentration of this traditional confrontation. This sport reflected the discipline, pride, and traditions deeply rooted in student life at the time. Around 1900, a family from Bethnal Green, London, lived in cramped but cozy urban spaces typical of the working class. The photograph shows their home filled with everyday objects, reflecting the domestic life and routines of the time. Their faces convey resilience and unity in the face of the hardships of the industrial city. This portrait captures an intimate moment that reveals the warmth and reality of family life in late Victorian London. Between 1890 and 1900, the Ainu of Hokkaido in Japan represented a unique indigenous culture with their own distinct traditions, clothing, and customs. The photograph shows 20 of them, capturing their collective identity and daily life at a time of great social change. Their expressions and attire reflect pride and resistance to the growing influence of the dominant Japanese society. This image is a valuable testament to a community struggling to maintain its cultural heritage in the face of modernization. In 1900, German Emperor Wilhelm II posed in the uniform of a British marshal, reflecting the complex alliances and rivalries of contemporary Europe. The image shows his imposing bearing and the opulence of his military attire, a symbol of power and status. This portrait illustrates the blend of diplomacy and ostentation that characterized the German monarchy. This photograph conveys both Wilhelm II's personal ambition and the political tension that swept across the continent. At the beginning of the 20th century, these Japanese children pose in traditional kimonos, showcasing the richness and delicacy of the era's cultural attire. The colorized photograph highlights the patterns and colors that symbolized status, festivities, and family traditions. Their expressions convey innocence and pride in their heritage. This portrait transports us to a Japan where modernity was beginning to blend with centuries-old customs.
Around 1900,
the crew of the USS Newark practiced sword exercises as part of their routine military training. The photograph captures the discipline and precision required in these maneuvers, essential to naval readiness at the time. Each gesture reflects the rigor and pride of serving in the United States Navy. This frozen moment shows us the dedication and rigor of life aboard a warship at the beginning of the 20th century. In 1900, the rural homes of São Miguel in the Azores reflected the simple and hard-working lives of its inhabitants. The colorized photograph highlights the roofs, facades, and details of an architecture adapted to the climate and volcanic environment. Each home conveys the story of families who lived in close contact with the land and nature. This image offers a window into the past, showcasing the humble and authentic beauty of rural Azorean life. Around 1900, in Myanmar, it was common for some women to enjoy the custom of smoking water pipes, a social and cultural tradition of the region. The photograph captures the woman's relaxed posture and concentration, depicting an everyday moment in local life. Her clothing and accessories reflect the identity and aesthetics of the time. This image transports us to an intimate moment that reveals everyday customs and habits in Myanmar at the beginning of the 20th century. Around 1900, Lillian Hawkins became the protagonist of a dark mystery, the victim of anonymous letters filled with threats and 4 murder attempts. The photograph captures her serious demeanor, reflecting the tension and fear that surrounded her daily life. Her story reveals a sinister side of society at the time, where intrigue and danger could lurk even among ordinary citizens. This image preserves the memory of a woman who bravely faced harassment and danger. At the beginning of the 20th century, this mother and daughter enjoyed themselves in front of the camera, depicting a spontaneous and joyful moment. The photograph reflects the closeness and connection between generations in a contemporary home. Their carefree gestures capture the innocence and everyday humor far removed from the formality typical of vintage portraits. This frozen moment allows us a glimpse into the warmth and fun of family life more than a century ago. Around 1900, this Japanese worker, known as a coolie, poses in a typical raincoat of the era, reflecting the life of those who faced daily work in the rain. The photograph highlights the resilience and humility of the working class, as well as their adaptation to difficult conditions. Every detail of their attire and posture conveys the routine and dignity of these men in Japanese society. This image offers us a direct look into the laborious everyday life of early 20th century Japan. Around 1900, 3 young workers, known as breaker boys, pose for a smoke during a short break in a coal mine in Pennsylvania. Their image reflects the harsh reality of child labor, with long hours and dangerous conditions in the mines. The cigarettes in their hands show us their sought of small moments of relief from the physical and social demands. This photograph captures an intense chapter in American labor history, filled with effort and sacrifice. Around 1900, a group of Ainu, the indigenous people of northern Japan, gathered to exchange customs, discuss community, and keep their culture alive. The photograph captures traditional clothing and gestures that reflect collective identity and pride. This gathering demonstrates the importance of community in preserving traditions in the face of outside influence. The image provides a glimpse into the daily life and social ties of the Ainu at that time.
In 1900, the streets of New York City were the scene of intense and sometimes harsh urban life, as this photograph of children playing near a dead horse shows. The image reflects the everyday closeness of the inhabitants with the harshness of the industrial city. Despite the circumstances, the children found ways to have fun and explore their surroundings. This portrait captures a moment of reality and childhood resilience in the heart of the city at the beginning of the 20th century. At the beginning of the 20th century, an Evenk shaman belonging to this indigenous minority of Siberia posed, demonstrating his spiritual and social role within the community. The photograph reflects his ceremonial attire and the objects used in healing rituals and connection with the spiritual world. This portrait captures the profound relationship between tradition, nature, and beliefs that characterized the Evenk people.
The image offers us a glimpse into a mystical and ancient world that survived for centuries in the remote regions of Russia. In 1900, New Zealand Governor Lord Ranfurly read the declaration of annexation to Queen Makea of the Cook Islands, marking the beginning of British control over the archipelago. The photograph captures a historic moment of formal diplomacy and political change in the South Pacific. This act symbolized the island's transition to New Zealand colonial administration, which became official a year later. The image captures a crucial moment where local tradition and imperial expansion intersected. Around 1900, on the streets of London, this street butcher, known as the Cat Meat Man, prepared rations for the animals that followed him daily. The photograph depicts the curious, everyday relationship between humans and pets in the Victorian city. His humble but essential work kept cats and dogs fed amidst the urban bustle. This image captures a snapshot of London's street life, where work, community, and animals coexisted closely. Around 1900, Emperor Meiji of Japan was leading a radical transformation that modernized the country and opened it to the outside world. The photograph captures his solemn bearing and the authority of a monarch guiding the transition from a feudal Japan to an industrial power. His dress and expression reflect both tradition and the drive for change that characterized his reign. This image captures a key moment in Japanese history where leadership and modernization converged. In 1900, at the end of the Boxer Rebellion in China, Japanese and European troops gathered after the fighting, symbolizing foreign intervention in the country. The photograph shows soldiers lined up, reflecting the military cooperation between nations in the face of a shared conflict. This moment highlights the imperialist influence and tensions that marked the region in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The image captures a historic moment of power, control, and international military diplomacy. In the 1930s, Mount Rushmore workers carved the gigantic faces of 4 American presidents into the boulders of South Dakota. The photograph shows the monumental effort and precision required to transform solid granite into a national icon. Every tool and scaffolding reflect the dedication and risk of those working at extreme heights. This image captures a key moment in the creation of one of the most recognizable symbols of American history and identity. In 1900, during the occupation of Beijing following the Boxer Rebellion, American soldiers camped inside the Forbidden City, the imperial heart of China. The photograph shows tents and uniforms in a setting steeped in history and power, contrasting the monumentality of the palace with the foreign military presence. This moment reflects the tension between Chinese tradition and foreign intervention in the country. The image captures a moment where politics, conflict, and culture intertwine. Around 1900, Chicago's Randolph Street was a bustling urban center filled with pedestrians, streetcars, and emerging buildings following the city's reconstruction. The photograph depicts the daily life of a sprawling metropolis, reflecting commerce, transportation, and social activity. Every detail, from the facades to the bustling streets, captures the energy of the industrial city. This urban portrait transports us to a time of transformation and growth in Chicago at the beginning of the 20th century.
Around 1900, Paris's brothels were part of the urban landscape and reflected hidden aspects of the city's social and economic life. This photograph offers a glimpse into the architecture and atmosphere of these establishments, where secrecy and everyday life mingled. This space reveals the interaction between clients, workers, and the dynamics of the era. The image captures a fragment of Parisian history, showing an intimate and controversial world that coexisted with the city's public life. In 1900, this corner bookstore in Boston occupied what was the city's first brick building, becoming an architectural and cultural landmark. The photograph shows its robust facade and distinctive presence amidst the urban bustle. This space not only sold books, but was also a meeting point for readers and curious citizens. The image captures a moment when history, commerce, and culture intertwined in the heart of Boston. In 1900, coffee houses in Palestine were social gathering places where locals would gather to chat, play games, and share news. The photograph shows the welcoming atmosphere and simple architecture that characterized these spaces. Every detail reflects the region's daily life and traditions of hospitality. This image offers a window into the past, showing how coffee culture brought the community together in moments of leisure and conversation. Around 1900, the old Cincinnati Library featured impressive cast-iron niches housing extensive collections in the main reading room. The photograph captures its elegance and solidity of its architecture, designed to inspire respect and concentration. Every detail reflects the value placed on knowledge and education at the time. This image transports us to a space where history, culture, and dedication to learning were in perfect harmony. In April 1900, Queen Victoria posed with her family, demonstrating the solemnity and unity of the British monarchy in her final years of reign. The photograph, taken by Lafayette, reflects the formality and protocol surrounding the royal family. Their expressions and postures convey both authority and family closeness. This image captures an intimate yet historic moment of one of Europe's most influential dynasties. In 1900, this tiny London shop, barely 1.2 square meters in size, showcased the ingenious adaptability of small urban entrepreneurs. The photograph captures the shoemaker surrounded by his wares, maximizing every available inch. This establishment reflects the daily life and economy of the city, where creativity and perseverance were essential. The image allows us to appreciate how commerce was carried out in tiny spaces, with ingenuity and dedication. At the end of 1900, Kaiser Wilhelm II posed smiling alongside Tsar Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children, demonstrating the family closeness that united the royal houses of Germany and Russia. The photograph captures a moment of harmony and familiarity before the conflicts that would transform Europe. Their expressions convey affection and pride, capturing the intimacy of a powerful dynasty. This portrait offers a unique glimpse into the personal ties behind the political history of the era. Around 1900, in some region of North America, these women enjoy a moment of simple fun on a swing, captured in a photograph that was later colorized. The image reflects everyday life and the simple pleasures of leisure time at the time. Their gestures and smiles convey joy and lightness, contrasting with the usual formality of vintage portraits. This frozen moment allows us a glimpse into the social and recreational life of the early 20th century. Between 1900 and 1940, before the invention of electronic radar, acoustic devices were essential for detecting aircraft and ships by sound. The photograph shows one of these devices, highlighting the engineering and precision required to listen for targets at a distance. This method, although rudimentary, represented a crucial technological advance for defense and surveillance at the time. The image transports us to a time when war and science were constantly innovating. Around 1900, Mulberry Street in New York City was the heart of the Italian neighborhood, filled with merchants, pedestrians, and vibrant urban life. The photograph captures narrow streets bustling with activity, reflecting the bustle and diversity of the expanding city. Every facade and stall displays the blend of immigrant tradition and industrial modernity. This urban portrait transports us to a time of energy, culture, and transformation in the American metropolis.
Around 1900, Mulberry Street in New York City was the heart of the Italian neighborhood, filled with merchants, pedestrians, and vibrant urban life. The photograph captures narrow streets bustling with activity, reflecting the bustle and diversity of the expanding city. Each facade and stall showcases the blend of immigrant tradition and industrial modernity. This urban portrait transports us to a moment of energy, culture, and transformation in the American metropolis. Around 1900, in Manhattan, the courtyard of a tenement building depicted the daily life of its inhabitants, with clothes hanging in the sun to dry. The photograph reflects the densely populated housing conditions and the daily routine of the urban working class. Each hanging garment tells stories of families sharing close quarters and simple moments. This image captures an intimate, everyday moment in the heart of early 20th century industrial New York. Around 1900, in China, flogging was a common form of corporal punishment for lawbreakers. The photograph depicts a severe and ritualized moment, reflecting the strict discipline and social norms of the time. The scene demonstrates both state control and the cultural acceptance of certain punitive methods. This image captures a stark moment of justice and authority in early 20th century China. Around 1900, in Little Italy, New York City, was a vibrant neighborhood of Italian immigrants filled with shops, markets, and narrow streets teeming with life. The colorized postcard highlights the colors, architecture, and daily activity that defined the community. Every detail reflects traditions, commerce, and sociability in the heart of the expanding city. This image transports us to a time when cultural identity and urban life were intertwined in the American metropolis. Around 1900, in Korea, these tiger hunters pose smoking their pipes, demonstrating a moment of rest after demanding days. The photograph reflects both the harshness of their profession and the camaraderie among them, uniting tradition and survival. Their attire and gestures convey pride and experience in hunting, an activity that required courage and skill. This image offers a glimpse into rural life and cultural practices in Korea at the beginning of the 20th century.